Hi, this is Subhashini, Senior Lecturer in Mechanical Engineering, Kuli Qutub Shah Government Polytechnic, Hyderabad. As you all know, I am dealing with the subject Industrial Management and Entrepreneurship. So, today I am going to tell about the last topic in materials management, that is purchase records. So, before going to the actual topic, I just want to recap what I have dealt in the last class. First, we studied about bin cards. Next one is the cardex method, and we have just slowly dropped into purchase management, and then objectives of purchase management, methods of purchasing, purchasing procedure. So, bin cards are maintained for ready-made check of stocks of material kept in bin. In a cardex method, a steel almirah with a number of drawers containing cards is kept close to storekeeper's seat. So, what are bin cards? Bin cards are maintained for ready-made check of stocks of material kept in bin. In a cardex method, a steel almirah with a number of drawers containing cards is kept close to storekeeper's seat. Next comes the functions of management. We have seen objectives and functions of purchase department, and then the methods of purchasing, and then the purchasing procedure. Now, today, on completion of this class, you'd be able to know what are the different purchase record, and we are entering into a new chapter, marketing. In that, you will be learning what is marketing, marketing functions, marketing conditions, sellers market, buyers market, etc. So, what is marketing? So, what is marketing? We'll try to see in the next topic after purchase records. So, in purchase records, the following are the records maintained by purchase department: purchase acquisitions, purchase enquiry, suppliers quotations, comparative statement, purchase order, bills or invoice. So, these are the purchase requisitions. So, in any industry or workshops, the purchasing department places orders for materials according to the requirements received from storekeeper for standard items, the stocks of which require restocking again and again, production shops for special materials which are not stocked in stores. Whenever any special materials is required in the shops, the production department prepares at least 3 copies of purchase requisition. So we'll slowly see what is a purchase requisition table. Part 1 is completed by indenter. Addresses of the suppliers is to be mentioned. 3 copies are prepared. 1 copy is retained and 2 copies will be sent to storekeeper. Purchase requisition table. Part 2 is filled by storekeeper. Verifies availability of materials in stores and reports. Part 3 is filled by purchase department. Makes arrangements for purchases. 1 copy is kept with purchase department. 1 copy is sent to indenter. Next comes the purchase enquiry. Is sending letter to the suppliers, is obtaining price of materials in detail. Calling of tenders is also known as purchase enquiry. Supplier's quotation. Reply to the purchase enquiry. Supplier quotes his price, terms and conditions, mentions quality, quantity, time of delivery, discount, and other concessions. This is known as tender. There are 3 types of tenders, namely single tender, closed tender, open tender. Next is the earned money deposit. This is demanded from supplier who quotes the tender, collected along with the quotation. If he comes back with the rate quoted, EMD is fortified. Security deposit. After selecting supplier on lowest rates quoted, he is asked to make a security deposit. So if he fails to supply properly and in time, amount is forfeited. Next comes the comparative statement. After opening all the tenders, comparative statement is prepared. Helps to study the proposals in one side. gives details including terms and conditions of delivery. Comparative statement pro forma. So, date of issue of NIT. I told the meaning of NIT in the last class. Notice inviting tenders. Date of receipt of tenders, serial number, item code, description, quantity required, previous price, firm 1, firm 2, firm 3, and terms and conditions will be there. Next, purchase order. Order to the supplier to supply required materials. Order to supply right quality in right quantity and in right time. 6 copies are prepared and signed by purchase officer. 1 copy each is sent to the storekeeper, supplier, account section, inspection department and department placing requisition. 1 copy retained by purchase department. So purchase order. Purchase order number, date, to, from, and they will give the quotation number. Please supply the following materials in accordance with the terms and conditions mentioned as under. Serial number, description of material, quantity, price per unit, amount, delivery date promised. So there will be a signature of purchase officer. Next comes the bill slash invoice. Statement of material supplied and price charged. Stores department receives materials with invoice, verifies and certifies correctness of materials, forwards to purchase department. Purchase department scrutinizes and passes for payment to accounts department. Now we'll see what is marketing. We are going into a new lesson, marketing. See, before going into actuals of marketing, I just want to say what is the word market. Market is derived from Latin word marketus, which refers to the place of trade or a place where business is carried out. Traditionally, marketing consists of those efforts which affect transfers in ownership of goods and care for their physical distribution. In the modern times of large scale production and cutthroat competition, the concept of marketing has altogether changed. Markets are no longer local but have become national and international in character. The field of marketing is being rapidly transformed into a much broader and more significant field in recent years. In the past, marketing was often referred to simply as selling. Today, the nature and scope of marketing has widened. Marketing is no longer considered to be the same thing as selling or advertising. It is viewed in a broader context comprising of several other elements besides selling and advertising. So, marketing has its origins in the fact that man is a creature of needs and wants. Needs and wants create a state of discomfort in persons, and they tend to get objects those satisfy these needs and wants. For example, in the months of summer, if it is an area ice is not freely available or when eatable tends to get distasted in summer, persons feel discomfort and they satisfy their needs by purchasing a refrigerator. So, the word marketing has been derived from market, which may be looked upon as an area of potential exchanges, a place where products can be exchanged by money or anything else. Marketing may be defined as human activity directed at satisfying needs and wants through exchange processes. Examples of human needs and wants are food, water, clothing, education, and other services. Marketing in its broad meaning includes policies, techniques, and methods necessary for selling and distribution. Without marketing function, goods and services cannot be sold. Marketing involves planning and execution of all aspects and activities of a product so as to exert optimum influence on the consumer to result in maximum consumption at the optimum price and therefore producing the maximum long-term profit. So, I just want to give two examples of marketing and we'll see what are the factors you consider when you want to buy a TV in the market. Is a place Market is a place of trade and business where products are engaged by money or anything else. What are the types of markets? You will be having based on the location, village or rural markets, local or national markets, international markets. So what are the types of markets means? Based on articles of trade, you'll be having bullion or cotton. Based on the exchange of dealings, you'll be having product or cash. Types of markets. Based on nature of goods, example consumer goods, toothpaste, soaps, etc. Engineering, machines, tools, etc. Based on the period, example short term and long term. Based on sales magnitude, retail, low volume. Wholesale means high volume. So I just want to conclude, marketing is an activity involved in the flow of goods and services to a customer. It is an activity directed at customer satisfaction, is an activity aimed at customer behavior, includes the techniques and methods necessary for selling and distribution. Marketing concept. So customers will be seeing for engineering, production, services, and so that is, and development, procurement, supply chain. This all is a marketing concept. Next point for discussion: is marketing an art or a science? Why marketing becomes issue of main concern to producers and sellers? How do you differentiate between marketing and selling? So, what are the market functions? Marketing functions are generally performed by marketing manager. The main purpose of marketing is to generate revenue for the business by selling products or services to the customers from producers. In order to achieve this purpose, the marketing manager has to perform the following functions: market research, buying and assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, grading and branding, advertising and sales promotion. Exchange functions means you'll have buying, assembling, selling. Supply functions means you'll be having transportation and storage. Facilitating functions means you'll be having financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, advertising, and sales promotion. Next comes the buying. Buying is procurement of materials for the business on the basis of price and quality of the product. Raw materials, finished products. Finished products are assembly products. Marketing helps in purchasing right type of materials, right quality materials at right time from right persons. Assembling is a function where components are assembled to form the final product. Electric motor engine. Such components may be produced by firm or purchased from other firms. Assembling helps to ensure proper assembling of components for alignment, dimensional tolerance, final fit, outbox. Selling. Selling is an important function of marketing. It is a process through which goods and services flow to the market, makes goods and services available to the customer. Best selling strategies increases the profits. Next comes the transportation. Transportation is a physical movement or distribution of goods from one place to another, from the places where they are produced and to those places where they are consumed. So, a good transportation system provides prompt and quick service to the customer, reduces transport cost, increases demand to the producer, increases profitability. Next comes the storage. Storage, it involves making of proper arrangements for retaining goods in a perfect state till they are needed by the customers. It is a process of keeping goods in perfect state till they flow to market. Marketing designs storage, facilitating and ensures the quality of goods using preservation. Finished products are kept at places like stores, godowns, etc. Financing. Finance is arranged by marketing department to the agencies for various activities, for the goods in transport, to the credit transactions to get the feedback from customers. Pricing. Marketing department determines price of the product. Price depends upon the product's quality, demand, package, durability. Marketing department determines price of the product. Marketing department evolves a price fixing policy with an aim of providing quality product at right time and at the right price to the customer. Risk taking. Marketing department ensures the material product against the following market risks: change of prices, time risk, place risk, change of demand, and competition. Marketing ensures the materials products against other risks like rain, wind, fire, earthquakes, accidents, strikes, new taxes, etc. Standardization. Standards are set with regards to products, size, shape, color, design, material. Is an application of standards, calls for interchangeability of products, helps customer to select a product. Grading. Marketing divides products by grading. Divides products according to the size, quality, character, feature, shape, and outlook. Example: fruits, grains, eggs, cars, TV, motor vehicles, etc. Brand name consists of word, symbol, number. Marketing involves in establishing the brand name to the product. Example: Nokia, LG, Samsung, Hyundai, Nike. Easy for customer to distinguish the product. Branding. So this branding means sales promotions. So branding values can be increased by sales promotions, advertisement, direct response, publicity, and event marketing, point of sale, packaging, and designing. Next comes advertisement. Advertising is an art of communicating the quality of product to the customer. Is a mass selling technique. Is informative and educative. Helps customer what to buy. Creates goodwill and image to firm. Helps to improve sales. Points for discussion. How and what grounds would you classify the products? So detergents, petrol, shirts, butter, cement, lates, sulfuric acid, radios, etc. So in this class, you have learnt about marketing functions like buying, assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, standardization, grading, etc. Next, so in this class, we have studied about buying, assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, standardization, grading, branding, advertising, risk taking, pricing. So, till now we have learned all this. Now we'll be learning marketing conditions, monopoly, oligopoly, perfect competition, difference between the above three buyers and sellers market. So, point of discussion. What difference would you find in buying vegetables in the market and buying a computer? So, according to the rate of competition, marketing conditions are of three types. That is monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. Monopoly is a market controlled by a single largest seller, holds a market share of more than 75%, creates artificial demand to increase prices, earns super profits, lower price as a matter of public interest. The competition is imperfect. Oligopoly. Market is controlled by a few sellers. These few sellers hold a market share of nearly 90%, penetrate the market with reduced prices and huge profits, forms into groups and create artificial demand. The entry by other firms is difficult. At times, government can interfere to reduce prices. The competition is imperfect. Next comes to oligopoly examples: steel manufacturers, aluminum manufacturers, car manufacturers, cement manufacturers, computer manufacturers. Perfect competition is a condition where market is controlled by many sellers. No brand value of the product exists. Supply exists, demand exceeds demand. Almost same quality is maintained by all. High quality goods are available at low prices. Competition is perfect. Next, we will slowly see what are the differences. So, in monopoly, very few sellers will be there. Oligopoly, few sellers, and perfect competition, you'll be having more sellers. Monopoly sells quality goods with brand name, sells quality goods with reduced prices, sells with minimum and cutthroat prices. Monopoly more markets. Oligopoly above normal profits, minimum profits, creates artificial demand, and oligopoly creates artificial demand controlled by government, cannot create artificial demand, that is perfect competition. So, what we have learned from monopoly and oligopoly and perfect competition is, in a monopoly market, the market consists of only one seller, and the seller may be government monopoly, coal, railway, transport, a private regulated monopoly. A government monopoly can be with a variety of objectives. It might set a price below cost because the product is important to buyers who cannot afford to pay full cost, or the price might be set higher to cover or to produce good revenues. A monopoly can create artificial demand and increases the prices and get huge profits. In this type, the competition is imperfect. Oligopoly. In an oligopoly market, the market is controlled by a few sellers that tend to set similar prices, and make entry by other firms is difficult. The sellers are highly sensitive to each other's pricing and marketing strategies. The products can be steel, aluminum, cars, cement, or computers. If an oligopolist raises the price, its competitors may not follow his price change. The condition of the market is imperfect. If few sellers form a group and create an artificial demand and increase prices, then the government will interfere and take steps to reduce the prices, and sometimes the government will take over the business. Perfect competition. It is a cutthroat competition. In this, number of sellers enter the market. Here, the supply is more than the demand. No single buyer or seller has much effect on going market price. The buyers will buy their needs without minding the trade of brand name or reputation of the firm. If any seller really wants to stand in the business, he has no other way to reduce the cost of the product. Here, the competition is perfect. All the sellers enter the market with quality products at minimum price. The price is decided against the demand and interaction. So now we'll go to a topic, sellers market and buyers market. So in monopoly, competition is imperfect and demand is more, sellers sells with brand name. In oligopoly, competition is imperfect, supply and demand nearly equal, and brand name increases sales. Perfect competition, competition is perfect, supply is more than demand, buyers will not mind the brand name. So discuss which market condition is more beneficial to customers. That is a topic for discussion. Now we'll slowly go to what is a seller's market. Product is an essential commodity. Good quality satisfies the buyer. Consumers are loyal to the supplier. No rival competitor in the market. So what is a seller's market? If the quality goods are produced to the satisfaction of the buyer, and if there is no competition of the product by other producers, and it is essential product with reasonable price, then the seller will have his hand in upper position, and such a market is known as seller's market. The seller in this market is called bear. In this, buyers are loyal to the seller. Profit is large and demand can be created by artificial storages. Here sellers are few and the seller is a boss. So no rival in the market will be there in seller's market. It is a monopolist market. Buyer's market. Buyer's market, on the other hand, if the demand for a particular product decreases due to its obsolescence or due to the superior quality of the same product produced by other firms, the buyer will have his hand in upper position, and such a market is known as buyer's market. In this, the buyer is known as bull and is called as bull, and buyers are small and sellers are large, and profits are minimum. Sellers has to accept buyer's views. Here the customer or buyer is a boss in buyer's market. Now we'll just see what are the differences between buyers and sellers market. This is very, very important in the exam point of view. Seller is a boss in seller's market. Buyer is a boss in buyer's market. Buyers are more and sellers are limited in seller's market. Sellers are more in buyer's market. Demand is created by artificial storage in seller's market. Demand is less and cannot be created in buyer's market. Seller is called bear and buyer is called bull. Competition is imperfect in seller's market and competition is perfect in buyer's market. So, buyer's market. So, before going into that, I just want to have a recap of what I have already told for today. Today, so where and when do you observe sellers and buyers market is point of discussion. We'll just try to discuss when we join in our classes. So before going ending the class, I just want to recap what all I have told for you for today. First topic I have covered is purchase records. The following are the records normally maintained by purchase department. Purchase requisitions, purchase enquiry, suppliers quotations, comparative statement, purchase order, bills or invoice. Purchase requisitions. In any industry or workshop, the purchasing department places orders for materials according to the requisitions received from them. Storekeeper for the standard items, the stocks of which require restocking again and again. Production shops for special materials which are not stocked in stores. Whenever any special material is required in the shops, the production department prepares at least 3 copies of purchase requisition. So I have discussed the pro forma of purchase requisition. Next comes the purchase enquiry. Purchase enquiry is a letter sent by the purchase department to the supplier for quoting his prices for the supply of materials detailed therein. Calling of tenders is also a purchase enquiry. The usual practice is to send an enquiry pro forma to the supplier. Supplier's quotation. On enquiry, the supplier quotes his prices and terms and conditions of the supply of materials to the purchase department, indicating the quality, quantity, time of delivery, price, discount, and other concessions, that is his reply to the enquiry. Usually, this is known as tender. Tender or a quotation is a written offer to do a work or to provide a material at the given price within the prescribed period and under certain specific conditions. Types of tenders: single tender, closed tender, open tender. Single tender. When the quantity is of extreme importance, only a reliable firm will be asked to supply, with whom they are already in business contact and rates are fixed by mutual acceptance. Close tender. When material is required, firms which are registered will be invited to tender their rates and the most economic offer will be considered for placing the order. In this system, the tenders are invited only from some limited firms. Hence, in this system is also called limited tender system. The last date to tender, terms and conditions of supply, and payments are mentioned in the tender notice. If the rate quoted by more than one firm or same, the order is placed on a known reliable firm. Open tender. This type of tender system is adopted when quantities to be purchased involve a large amount. This system is also known as unlimited tender system. A tender notice in newspapers is published so that a wide publicity can be given. All the interested firms will apply for the tenders available in the certain price. These tenders forms contain date of receiving, and opening the tenders, the approximate quantity required, period and place of delivery, specifications and other terms and conditions for supply. Earnest money deposit. Earnest money deposit is demanded from the supplier who quotes the tender so that the later. I just want to skip those slides so that you can just see what all I have. Otherwise, it will be a simple reading. So you just see the slides, what all I'm slowly covering. It's just a recap. You just try to memorize the things, what all I have already did, but just I'm giving important highlights so that you can remember well. So, next one. Okay, we'll just go slowly. Okay, marketing. Okay. See, earnest money deposit is EMD. Earnest money is demanded from the supplier who quotes the tender so that later on he does not back out from the rates he quotes for supplying the material or goods. Security deposit. After selecting the superior to whom to give the tender, either on the basis of lowest rates quoted by him or otherwise he is asked to make a security deposit so that in case the supplier fails to furnish the goods properly and in time, the security deposit can be fortified. Next comes the comparative statement. After opening and numbering After opening and numbering all the tenders, a comparative statement is prepared. This helps to study the proposals in one side. It gives all the details, including alternative offers, terms and conditions of delivery, etc. Next comes the purchase order. Purchase order is an order to the supplier to supply required materials as per the quotations submitted by him in accordance with the instructions contained therein, to supply the right quality in right quantity and at right time. At least 6 copies of purchase order are prepared by the purchase section, and each copy is separately signed by the purchase officer. Out of these copies, only one copy is sent to the storekeeper, supplier, account section, inspection department, and to the department placing the requisition, and one copy is retained by the purchase department for record. So next one is the bills or invoice. Invoice or bill is a statement of materials supplied and price charged from the purchaser. The supplier usually dispatches the invoice of bill along with materials for payment. Invoices are received along with the materials by the stores department for making correct payment and for the materials which have actually been received and for avoiding any double payment. It is necessary that stores department should enclose a certificate to the effect that materials have been received in the ordered quantity and quality. If there is any discrepancy, that too should be reported while forwarding the invoice or bill to the purchase department. The purchase department, on receipt of the invoice, scrutinizes and passes it for payment and sent to the accounts department. Now, we'll go to marketing. So, it's just a recap. Kindly listen. The word market has derived from Latin word, as I have told, marketus, which refers to a place of trade or place where business is carried out. Traditionally, marketing consists of those efforts which affect transfers in ownership of goods and care for their physical distribution. In the modern times of large scale production and cutthroat competition, the concept of marketing has altogether changed. Markets are no longer local, but have some national and international in character. The field of marketing is being rapidly transformed into a much broader and more significant field in recent years. In the past, marketing was often referred to simply as selling. Today, the nature and scope of marketing have widened. Marketing is no longer considered to be the same thing as selling or advertising. It is viewed in a broader text comprising of several other elements besides selling and advertisement. Now we'll just see what is marketing. Marketing has its origin in the fact that man is a creature of needs and wants, and needs and wants create state of discomfort in persons and they tend to get objects. So, marketing may be defined as human activity directed at satisfying needs and wants through exchange processes. Examples of human needs, wants are food, water, clothing, education, and other services. Marketing, in a broad meaning, includes policy, techniques, and methods necessary for selling and distribution. Without marketing function, goods and services cannot be sold. Marketing involves planning and execution of all aspects and activities of a product so as to exert optimum influence on the consumer to result in maximum consumption at the optimum price and therefore producing the maximum long term profit. Next, I'm slowly dropping into marketing functions. Already I've told what are those marketing functions. We'll try to memorize again. Marketing functions are generally performed by marketing manager. The major purpose of marketing is to generate revenue for the business by selling products or services to the customers from producers. In order to achieve this purpose, the marketing manager has to perform the following functions: market research, buying and assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, grading and branding, advertising and sales promotion. Now, now we'll be having a market research. So we'll just discuss about the market research, buying and assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, grading and branding, advertising and sales promotion. Slowly, I'll try to recap each function of marketing because it's very, very important in the exam point of view. First one is a market research. It may be defined as an organized approach which includes all research activities involved in marketing problems, gathering, recording, and analyzing the utility and marketability of the product, the nature of demand, nature of competition, the methods of marketing, and other aspects of movement of products from the stage of production to the point where they get consumed. Buying and assembling. Next comes buying and assembling. Procurement of raw materials, semi finished products, or assembled products is an important function of marketing. Marketing manager will supply the information regarding the needs of customers. Coordination between purchasing and marketing managers also will help in purchasing right type of materials and right quantities and of right qualities at right time from right persons. Selling is an important function not merely for increasing the profits but also for making goods and services available to the consumers in society. It is the process whereby goods and services finally flow to the consumers who need them there and the firm perform its function of distributing its products among the consumers. Transportation. It is the physical distribution of goods from the places where they are produced to those places where they are consumed. Storage. It involves making of proper arrangements for retaining goods in a perfect state till they are needed by the consumers and are to be taken to the marketplace. Financing. The financing function of the marketing involves the use of capital to finance the agencies in their various activities and the financing of goods in transport, whether a firm manufactures its own products for sale or merely buys for resale funds are required. Pricing. Determination of price of a product is an important function of marketing. Pricing policy depends upon various factors, namely quality, cost of production, competition in the market, ability and willingness of the consumer to pay, demand for the product, durability of the product, and status of the product. Risk taking insurance. Marketing involves number of risks. Most of the risks are due to fluctuations in prices. Price changes are responsible for actual loss or loss of potential profits to the owners and buyers of goods. The various marketing risks are time risk, place risk, risk of changes in demand, risk of competition, other risks like rain, wind, fire, lighting, earthquakes, heat and cold, disease, accident, strikes, government activities like levy of new tax. These are all overcome by insurance. Next comes the standardization and grading and branding. Standardization is the process of setting up standards to produce goods. Standards are set with regard to size, shape, color, design, and material. Standardization calls for interchangeability of various machine parts. The system of dividing into different classes according to their size, quality, and characteristic is known as grading. Branding means giving a name to a particular product so that the consumer is able to distinguish the product from other similar products and knowing and remembering by the consumer. The brand may consist of a word, symbol, or a number. Advertising and sales promotion. The object of advertising is to inform and create a desire in the minds of potential consumer. Advertising media includes newspapers, magazines, radio, televisions, cinema halls, hoardings, window displays, internets, etc. Sales promotion includes packing and packaging. Packing means warping, compressing, and filling goods for the purpose of their protection. Packaging means a consumer wrapper, container wrapper, or case for packing goods. It acts like a silent salesman of the manufacturer, particularly at a place where there is a widespread use of self services or self selection methods. Now we'll slowly go to the market conditions. This all I have covered: selling, transportation, storage, financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, standardization, grading, branding, advertising. So this is all I have recap. And slowly I'll go to the marketing conditions. So economists recognize three types of marketing conditions. They are monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. Monopoly. In a monopoly market, the market consists of one seller. The seller may be government monopoly. A government monopoly can be with a variety of objectives. It might set a price below cost because the product is important to buyers who cannot afford to pay full cost, or the price might be set higher to cover or to produce good revenues. A monopoly can create artificial demand and increases the prices and get huge profits. In this type, the competition is imperfect. Oligopoly. In an oligopoly market, the market is controlled by few sellers that tend to set similar prices and make entry by other firms difficult. The sellers are highly sensitive to each other's pricing and marketing strategies. The products can be steel, aluminum, cars, cement, or computers. If an oligopolist raises the price, its competitors may not follow his price change. The condition of the market is imperfect. If few suppliers from a group and create an artificial demand and increase prices, then the government will interfere and take steps to reduce the prices, and sometimes the government will take over the business. Perfect competition. It is a cutthroat competition. In this, number of sellers enter the market. Here the supply is more than the demand. No single buyer or seller has much effect on the going market price. The buyers will buy their needs without minding the trade or brand name or the reputation of the firm. If any seller really wants to stand in the business, he has no other way to reduce the cost of product. Here the competition is perfect. All the sellers enter the market with quality of products at minimum price. The price is decided against demand and supply interaction. The differences between monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. Very few sellers. We'll just try to see the differences between monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. So, in monopoly, you'll have very few sellers. Oligopoly, you will have few sellers, and perfect competition, you have more sellers. Monopoly sells quality goods with brand name. Oligopoly sells quality goods with reduced prices. Perfect competition sells goods with minimum cost and low. Monopoly gets more profits. Oligopoly gets above normal. Perfect competition gets minimum profits. Monopoly creates artificial demand controlled by the government. Oligopoly creates artificial demand. Perfect competition cannot create artificial demand. Competition is imperfect. Competition is imperfect is in case of oligopoly, and the competition is perfect in case of perfect competition. The demand is more than supply in monopoly. Supply and demand nearly equal in oligopoly. Supply is more than demand in perfect competition. Sells with his brand name. Brand name increases sales in case of oligopoly. Buyers will not mind the brand name. Now we'll slowly see what are the differences. We'll try to memorize what are the difference between the sellers and buyers market and just try to exit from the discussion. The very important topic is sellers and buyers market. Sellers market. If the quality goods are produced to the satisfaction of the buyer and if there is no competition of the product by other producers and it is an essential product with reasonable price, then the seller will have his hand in upper position and such market is known as seller's market. The seller in this market is called the bear. In this, buyers are loyal to the seller. Profit is large and demands can be created by artificial storages. Here, sellers are few and the seller is a boss. Buyer's market. On the other hand, if the demand for a particular product decreases due to its obsolescence or due to the superior quality of the same product produced by other firms, the buyers will have his hand in upper position and such a market is known as buyer's market. In this, the buyer is known as the bull. Buyers are small and sellers are large. Profits are minimum. Sellers has to accept the buyer's views. Here the customer is a or buyer is a boss. Now we'll slowly see what are the differences between sellers and buyers market. See, seller's market, seller is a boss. Buyer's market, buyer is a boss. Buyers are large and sellers are limited. Sellers are more and buyers are small. So, in case of seller's market, demand is created by artificial storage, and in buyer's market, demand is less and cannot be created. In seller's market, seller is a bear. In buyer's market, buyer is a bull. In seller's market, competition is imperfect, and here the competition is perfect. Profits are large in case of seller's market. Profits are less in buyer's market. So profits are large in case of seller's market and profits of less in buyer's market. Buyer is loyal to the seller and sellers are loyal to buyers. Selling is made after production in case of seller's market and production is made after finding the needs of the customer. So the main aim is to satisfy the production in seller's market. Aim to satisfy the needs of the customer is in the buyer's market. So today, what all I have covered for today? I've covered purchase records. In that we have dealt purchase requisitions, purchase inquiry, suppliers quotations, comparative statement, purchase order, bills or invoice. And I've detailedly recapped all the points. Next, slowly I've dropped into a new chapter that is marketing. I've told what is marketing, what are the marketing functions. What are the marketing functions? Market research, buying and assembling, selling, transportation, storage, financing, pricing, risk taking, standardization, grading and branding, advertising and sales promotion. So, and then we have seen the market conditions: monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition. In monopoly market, the market consists of only one seller. A monopoly can create an artificial demand and increases the price and get huge profits. In this type, the competition is imperfect. Oligopoly. In a oligopoly market, the market is controlled by few sellers that tend to set similar prices and make entry by other firms difficult. If an oligopoly raises the price, its competitors may not follow his price change. The condition of the market is imperfect if a few sellers form a group and create an artificial demand and increases prices, so the government will not interfere, will interfere and take steps to reduce the prices. Sometimes the government will take over the business. Perfect competition. It is a cutthroat competition. In this, a number of sellers enter the market. Here, the supply is more than the demand. No single buyer or seller has much effect on the going market price. The buyers will buy their needs without minding the trade or brand name or reputation of the firm. If any seller really wants to stand in the business, he has no other way to reduce the cost of the product. So here the competition is perfect. So this all the we have differentiated monopoly, oligopoly, and perfect competition, and we just try to discuss sellers market and buyers market, in which seller in sellers market is bear, and the customer or the buyer is a boss in buyers market. So slowly we have seen what are the differences between sellers market and buyers market, and so in the next class, I will try to tell what is sales, what are the functions of sales department, and what are the duties of a salesman, qualities of salesman, and we'll try to focus on what is selling and what is the difference between selling and marketing, pricing policies, what are the cost, elements of cost, so other components of cost. We'll just try to discuss. Okay. Hope you understood. So, before concluding, I just want to tell the functions of purchase department again because it is very, very important and you get for 5 marks. Purchase department has to perform certain functions in order to achieve the above mentioned objectives. They are maintain records of available and reliable suppliers, prices of materials, to prepare and update the list of materials required by different departments of the organization within a specified span of time, place and follow up purchase orders, maintain records of all purchases, to make sure through inspection that right kind, quantity, quality of material has been purchased, to check with the if the material has been purchased at right time at economical rates, to keep an uninterrupted supply of the materials so that the production continues with least capital tied in into inventories to prepare purchasing the budget to ensure that the prompt payments are made to the suppliers in the interest of good public relations. So this is all the functions of purchase department. So with this we have completed lesson of materials management, and we have entered into marketing. So before winding up, I just want to tell what is sales. The major problem of today's business is not that of production, but it is of sale. In small organizations, selling activities are looked by marketing manager himself, while in large organization where there is more intricate division of the functions, there will be a marketing manager as well as sales manager. The sales management can be defined as the planning, directing, and control of the personal selling activities of business unit, including recruiting, selecting, training, equipping, assigning, routing, supervising, paying and motivating the sales personnel or salesmen. Selling activities can be performed from a producer to the distributors, distributor to the wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, retailer to consumer, or sometimes producer can directly sell to the consumers. Sales management is a term applied to the process of distributing, advertising, selling, storing, transportation, handling, and financing or risk taking. The sales manager must see the product reaches to the final buyer. In this process, the sales manager will have his organization with sales assistant manager, sales supervisor, salesman, etc., who pursue the wholesale and retail dealers in keeping their brand of product. So this is about the sales. So with this, I just try to conclude. Thank you, students.